All right, good evening, everybody. It's your boy Akeem from the Football Source, here to give you a recap of Week 11 of the 2014 college football season. Another great week for you guys, and a couple of major upsets, and a big stir within the SEC Conference and the college football playoff for this inaugural season. Now, I'm going to start off with a huge game in the SEC Conference between Texas A&M at Auburn. Now, Auburn ended up losing. A&M did pull the 41-38 upset due to a great play by freshman quarterback Kyle Allen, who was the player of the game. 4 touchdown passes, all in the first half. Now, I picked Auburn to win this game, and Texas A&M surprised me a lot, especially coming after a shaky 21-16 victory last week against Louisiana Monroe. They ended up turning things around and pulled off a big win at Auburn. Sticking in the SEC Conference, there was a big scare in Death Valley between number 5 Alabama and number 16 LSU. Now, the LSU Tigers fought a hard battle, but it wasn't enough. In overtime, an overtime victory for Alabama, 20-13. Now, between Alabama and Auburn, Auburn has now had their second loss in SEC play, and could be a big scare for Alabama. Alabama only has 1 loss. For Auburn, they're definitely already out of the race for the playoff at the end of the year, while Alabama is still alive, but they have a couple of big games against Mississippi State and in that Iron Bowl against their arch rival Auburn. Headed over to the ACC Conference, Florida did a great job against Virginia, winning 34-20. Good win, big win for Jameis Winston. He had a good game in that matchup. Going back to the SEC division, Eastern Division, Georgia ended up beating Kentucky 63-31. Great play by running back Nick Chubb, who had just 13 carries for 170 yards and 1 touchdown. Now I'm going to head over to the Big Ten Conference, and a game I did have wrong. Iowa actually got killed by Minnesota 51-14. And my game of the week between Ohio State and Michigan State, that was a big loss for me. I went with the Spartans in this one due to the home field advantage and their experience at quarterback. But freshman quarterback J.T. Barrett showed his experience, where he had just 300 yards passing and 86 yards rushing to go with a good handful of touchdowns, just outplaying that Connor Cook, the quarterback for Michigan State. J.T. Barrett's an excellent replacement for Braxton Miller, and I think he should get some Heisman votes coming towards at the end of the year. Now, I do not think that he will make it to New York, but he should get some good credit for his play this season, and he should probably win Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year between him and running backs Amir Abdullah of Nebraska and Melvin Gordon out of Wisconsin. Barrett is having a great season and giving Michigan State their second loss of the season, and still keeping high hopes for Ohio State. A couple of other games I need to talk about. Number 9, Arizona State hosted number 10, Notre Dame. Notre Dame was handed with their second loss with the Arizona State 55-31 victory. They did a great job containing Everson Golson, and he even threw 4 interceptions in that matchup. One of the surprising matchups this week was my Texas Longhorns, who I was considering calling it as my upset game of the week. I ended up still going with West Virginia, but how can I doubt my own team? I can't believe I went wrong in this one, and I doubted my team. The Longhorns actually pulled off a great home victory, 33-16. Now, overall this week, I went 7-5. I'm having a terrible year so far. But I'd like to talk about what we just saw this past week, particularly in the SEC Conference. Now, we still have a couple of key matches to look at for teams for Alabama and Mississippi State. Well, just about every SEC team having at least 2 losses except for Alabama and Mississippi State. Because of what we've seen so far this season, we might still see a couple of upsets where an SEC team might not even be represented in the college football playoff coming towards at the end of the year. Now, for Alabama, I did told you guys that they have to play against Mississippi State and Auburn. They have a chance to beat Mississippi State, giving Mississippi State their first loss, and then losing to Auburn in that Iron Bowl, giving Alabama their second loss. And for Mississippi State, if they lose to Alabama, then against Ole Miss at the end of the season in the Egg Bowl, just about all the SEC teams will have at least 2 losses, and I highly doubt that any of those teams will represent in the college football playoff. Now, who is still in the hunt? I mentioned Michigan for the playoff. I mentioned Mississippi State and Alabama. I kind of called out Ohio State out of it because I thought that Michigan State will win that game, and even if Ohio State did beat Michigan State, I was still doubted that they will make it to the playoff at the end of the year because of the teams of the SEC conference. But now, because we just seen the results of this past week, Ohio State has a great fighting chance of making it to the playoff at the end of the year. And I already told you guys, Oregon still only has one loss. And another big game last week, I forgot to mention, a big 41-20 victory for TCU over Kansas State. TCU still only has one loss, and they even bumped up within the top four. Number 4th ranked team overall. They can still make the playoff at the end of the year, representing the Big 12 conference. Now, we still have plenty of season left, and people are very skeptical of what will happen in the SEC conference, given all the other major college football conferences a better shot of making it to the playoff at the end of the year due to the fact that the SEC conference is beating each other up. But we will see. We still have a lot of exciting games to talk about, and the next time I'm going to catch you guys will be on Thursday, where I will start talking about week 12 of this season. Thank you for watching today's blog from the Football Source. I'm your man, Hakeem McCall. Be easy.